Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming to the talk today. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Edward Yang. Mr. Yang is here today to discuss his book, There Are No Fortune Cookies in China. He will share the experiences that lead to his success in professional life, as well as the characteristics, values, and priorities that Asians can leverage to rise higher in the world of business and technology. Mr. Yang was born in China and immigrated to the United States to pursue his master's degree in engineering. Starting as a computer programmer, he learned how to bridge the culture gap in the corporate environment and eventually became the president of Asia Pacific of Electric Data Systems. He is currently the chairman and the president of iSoftStone Incorporation, and he lives in Southern California. Mr. Yang travels frequently around the US, Australia, and China for talks and counseling at universities and businesses. Please join me and welcome Mr. Edward Yang to Microsoft.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. I am very honored to be back here again to talk to Cham and many Microsoft employees in the remote side. I want particularly very thankful to all of you because I gave a talk to Cham 4 years ago from iSoftStone when I joined them on the board. And Cham, I think Kate Onchong was on the board member. And I gave a talk to the Cham employees at lunchtime. And then I was asked to come back because there was very high interest. And I also have several group of people that joined me for dinner and asked questions. So I came back and did the second talk. And then people said, why don't you put it down in writing? So thanks to Kate. She's been Microsoft for 15 years, and she's from China, Japan. And so I was very impressed. She said, I said, who am I to write a book? She said, I have done that for Microsoft. It's not that hard. So I said, okay, I have all the notes and all the PowerPoints over 40 years of educating Western executives when they go to Asia, what they should do and what they shouldn't do. So I started writing. It took me 3 years, many nights to, with the help of Kate and Dennis Smith, and then wrote this book. And the title is There Are No Fortune Cookies in China. I had a different title before, but my 3 kids who were born in Boston, and they call it ABC. And when they read that, they liked it. Then they said, Dad, the title you had is very boring. And you can always get uncandid criticism from your children. So this is what they come up. And I thought it was very nice because people who go to China after dinner, they said, where's fortune cookies? You know, we have it in America, every restaurant at the end, they bring fortune cookies with the check. And then you get to open and say, you're going to be rich or you're going to be lucky. And so in China, they say, what's fortune cookies? So if you go to Google and Microsoft search engine, Bing search engine, sorry, I shouldn't mention Google. And you would know that it says fortune cookie is invented in San Francisco by a Japanese chef in a Chinese restaurant. So anyway, that's the, but nevertheless, I was born in China and grew up in Burma in early years. And in Burma, I went to Catholic school, college, And then when military took over, I went to National Taiwan University, Taiwan Daxue. After graduating, I went to UMass Graduate School. Later, I got my executive MBA from Pepperdine, and I served on the board of Pepperdine University for 15 years. So throughout my life, I was born in China, Chongqing, and then grew up in Burma. I had to learn to acclimate to the environment in Burma, because you got to survive. You have to wear longji, you speak Burmese, you're totally localized to be with everybody. And then I went to university for 2 years and taken the toughest Burmese language exam in a college. And so then I moved to Taiwan, and I had to acclimate to a Chinese environment where I was not brought up in. And you acclimate into that. Then when I went to school in US, I did that adjustment again. So when you do that, you start thinking that, you know, the way to adjust is to know how people live, how people behave, and how people do business. And then first thing, of course, is language. So I want to share with you what I learned and all the potholes and tripping, and I fell down hundreds of times. And then hopefully this will help you so that you can avoid all the potholes and you can move faster and without making the mistake that I made. And that's my passion now after 40 years of corporate world, helping companies from US to. So I was with Wang Lab, Dr. Wang An from Shanghai Jiaoda, and went to Harvard, got his PhD, and invented magnetic core memory, started the company, built it to $5 billion, and then he was asked to go back to China to help the countries. And I was at that time sales manager. I was in technical programmer, then sales. Quickly I moved into sales because I see that's where the reward and measurable performance. You know, people said, I always tell people that if you feel, and I learned the question from the audience in Microsoft, is that if you feel you're not going anywhere in the company, and you say, gee, I'm not recognized, I'm not, you know, getting paid the way I should be, you ask yourself, if you wake up any CEO, any company, in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, you wake him up and you said, what's the most important thing to you? 3 things. He'll wake up and he'll say, revenue, profit, customer satisfaction. That's the 3 things. Because all of that, you can say shareholder value, return on investment, all. If you don't have happy customer, you're not going to get anything. Revenue's not going to come. If you've got revenue and spend too much money, there's no profit that's going to come in. If you have no profit, company cannot survive. So all the 3 things. So as employee in Microsoft or anywhere, and my advice is that ask yourself, the job you are going to work every day, work so hard on, how distant are you from revenue, profit, customer satisfaction? Are you supporting customer? How many layers are you away from? Are you getting revenue for the company? Are you helping out with the profitability? And if you are directly involved in that, then you'll know that, you know, you will be recognized first. And every layer you have, you'll be recognized much later. So when I was technical person in Wang Lab, and they sent me to Asia to do the marketing of the most advanced technology product. You know, it was an integrated system, word processing, data processing. And I was the technical guy that did all the presentation marketing. And quickly I found out that the salespeople who got the orders closed, year end, they get good paycheck, and they go to London, they go to Paris for achiever meeting, and I get to stay in the office. So second year I said, I'm going to go into sales. Because technical sales is nothing but doing the same thing, only you now interface with the customer and client. So come back to, so 14 years I was with Wang Lab helping build the Asia Pacific business. I was senior vice president. I started manufacturing in Taiwan. I did the joint venture in Shanghai. And all of that is the build up a 12-country presence. So 14 years later, Dr. Wang passed away. and I joined EDS Corporation. And EDS, the same thing. They said General Motors just bought EDS. EDS is outsourcing. Ross Perot invented outsourcing. And he started with $2,000, and he sold to General Motors. They wrote him a check of $2 billion. And they needed someone who understands the culture in Asia. And I was brought into EDS for interview, 3 days. Every senior people, board member interviewed me. And then at the end, they said, Mr. Yang, you may be wondering why we spend so much time with you, because EDS invented outsourcing, and we only homegrown from within, from Texas or our internal, because outsourcing is not as known outside the world. But he said, when General Motors bought us, we have to go to Asia. We sent Americans to Asia, and it didn't work. They don't want to be there. They don't like the food. They don't get used to out there. So, and then the business doesn't happen. I mean, they upset customers. And so he said, if we hire you, you'll be the first Asian executive we hire from outside. And we cannot homegrown Asian executive from within. And so I was brought in, and I built a business for EDS from $100 million, 12 countries, to $1 billion 9 years later, and $4 billion backlog. And Australia, New Zealand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, Malaysia, all of that. And I was based in Hong Kong. And to have to bring customer back, I have to fly back almost 3-4 times a month. So I'm a 2 million mile flyer with United and 3 million mile flyer with American. But we don't have products, so we have to bring people back to corporate to feel and understand how we serve the client. And in doing so, we bring executive out to Asia to help me reinsure. In Japan, Hong Kong, we do business with Itochu, Yitenzhong, they're the top 5 in Japan. And we do business in Taiwan government. We built the national health system. So we bring executive out to Asia to help me reinforce the support. And when we go out there, the first stop is in Japan. So our CFO was in Itochu's conference room, 20 executives come in, and they all come in and pass cards. Hi! So you take, oh, I didn't have my card. So he takes his card, and he collected it all. Then he finally got his card. So, oh, yeah, I got my card now, So he passed it out. So I said, oh, my God, I need to train them not to do that, because it's very respectful. Asian, you turn the card to the client, and you bow, and Li Zun, that's the respect. So, and then when they go to see the chairman, they get in and waiting for chairman, they sit at a comfortable sofa. I said, get up, that's the chairman's seat. So all these are subtleties that you have to learn. It's culture, but you're there to pay respect and thank the chairman for your business. And he walked in and saw you sitting on his sofa. How do you set up? Or dinner banquet, you have the seating plan in my book on seating plan. Where's the host? Where's the number 1 guest, number 2 guest? If you reverse that, you're going to upset people. So you're there to promote business, and then you end up upsetting people, because the most critical is a 5th or 6th layer mid, 副市长, 市长, all these 副部长, where to sit. All these people, when they got, why do you let Kate sit higher than me? Then he get upset at you. So you need to learn these culture. Like I said, if you're going to Africa, or going to Kilimanjaro, or go to climb Mount Everest, what are you going to do? You just say, let's go, let's go climb, let's go to safari, and I'll get sneakers and jeans. No, you get a guide, and that guide tells you what to wear, what to do, what not to do. So you understand, you get to learn the culture. But when you do business outside your country, even within the country, there's a East Coast culture, West Coast culture, Texas culture. Everyone has different, because culture is how people live. and interact with each other. And that's the most important thing when you want to be successful, when you change your hometown and go to someplace. I lived in Boston for 9 years. When I live in Hawaii, it's a different culture. Then you get to acclimate into that. The key is always adapt yourself to that. So the topic is very comprehensive. And I'm going to go quick because there's a lot of material. And I was also told to introduce my book. So there will be slides in there. I want to bring it back to what it means to the topic. So I'm going to take you out a little bit and then bring you right back towards the end. And I will look for question and answer. And because Kate's my co-author and Microsoft is, iSoftware's big client. And I have a lot of friends here. Then I met with Steve Ballmer and Lu Qi at the Heister conference. I serve on the Heister board, and that was encouraging. I mean, Steve Ballmer was there at the breakfast at Heister. There's a 华人协会, and he was very supportive of, how important China market is to Microsoft and to the world. So we look at that. So the topic really two area. It might link into one is because all of you today are in a much more advantageous position because you're biculture, And I have friends like Carolyn Promo, Alan Beauchamp, who are colleagues that we work at Wang. She's my marketing executive. Alan's my strategist and CFO. And they start learning Mandarin, and she said, Ed, all Chinese must be the smartest people in the world because it's just so hard to learn the Mandarin language. I said, yeah, you got to start when you were young because, later years it's very, very difficult. So the first topic, successful characteristic. This is strictly my opinion. So, since I signed the release, it's going to go public wherever. It's only Ed Yang's opinion. It doesn't substantiate anything. But it's what I learned from these successful people to share with you. And, you may agree, you may not agree. And if anything, take the part that help you, So, and bring it up in the question and answer when we have to discuss. So first one, in my book, I acknowledge is that Dr. Wang changed my life. When I joined Wang Lab at 14 years, I watched him, all his successful part, that's it, but the style that he was. He always walked around the office. It's a huge tower, 12 floors, and, Alan and Carolyn all work for Wang. You always see, he's not tall, so when we're in a cubicle, you see this little gray head and just walking around on the top. He always take that, I guess he treat that as exercise and walk around, so he's very accessible to people. If people want to talk to him, say, Dr. Wang, I have a question. Then he'll stop and say, yeah, So walk around and get to know your company. He's very simple-minded. I mean, he's from Jiaoda, Harvard PhD, invented magnetic core memory. That magnetic core memory changed the life of the society because it goes from vacuum tube to semiconductor. He invented that. So his name is in Infomart in Texas, Infomart, which is a Hall of Fame. So the person who changed the life of the society is that. So he's very simple-minded. He makes suits. He said he made one jacket and 2 pairs of pants because he said pants wear out more. And that's all he wear and walk around. So when I was running Asia Pacific region, he's very, very concerned and want to know what's happening in China, all that's his interest. So I was at his home for dinner, and he always wear a Seiko watch. And then Mrs. Wang would bring chili sauce, because Shanghai doesn't eat chili, but I'm a Sichuan, Chongqing, so there's always chili jar. But I have to hide my Rolex when I go to have dinner with him. He's only wearing a Seiko. Very down-to-earth person. So accessible, And then his slogan is find the need and fill it. He invented calculator when people were using slide rules. He invented the calculator that can go to 16-digit decimal. So every university research institute bought Wang's calculator. Anyway, Bill Gates, many years of success becomes a baggage. When you have success for that many years, you build a $5 billion corporation. You're the 5th richest person in the US. And you begin to think, yeah, we don't need to change because everything I do is on the right track. So not only Wang, Data General, Prime, Digital, they all have their own proprietary system. And then when open system happens, so that causes a change. But that's not what we're talking. We're talking characteristics, successful people. Bill Gates, timing, place, and people. 天时地利人和. Now, if you read Malcolm Gladwell's book on Outliers, how many people read this book? I love the book. I mean, he's just a genius. Outlier talk about why do all the, and I can go on and on, but I need to keep track of the time. So Outlier talk about the timing of in the 70s, computers are very expensive. And those who can get access to that has a head in the society. So Bill Gates, in the family's clubhouse, they have computers, and they get proficient on that. So 4 years later, people were looking for computer programmers, and they are way ahead of other people. So timing, place, and all hard work always comes in. People, smart, but 天时地利, if timing is not there and you're in a wrong geographic area, then it doesn't happen. But you got to get ready for yourself. And he lived on a high note. He built a Microsoft just admirable, and he walk out and say, give it to the next generation of leader. And he did the charity. You know, he's just most respected by people. He and Melinda, you know, they built this billion-dollar club that you join the club, you have to agree to give away more than half of your billion-dollar asset to charity. And that's built-in wealth in heaven. This is very admirable. Steve Jobs, he worked hard, worked smart. He's about the same time of the 天时地利. But he got kicked out by his own company board. So in Chinese saying, 置之于死地而复生, you were put in a corner. You're desperate. You know, you just have to think about how to survive. So when you're in desperate mode, don't give up on hope, because that's when you have another venue that comes up. And look how Steve Jobs built the most valuable corporation, bigger than Exxon at one time, Apple, you know. But he also said, he left $7 billion, behind. So money really is not something he, go for. He just go for excellency. And at his dying bed, he said, I wish I spent more time with the family. And that put perspective on, business is important. You got to balance that. Your family, in the end, it will always be with you. Your company, title, position can go away. I mean, I was president, senior, whatever. Nobody can hold that title long. Not Steve Jobs, not Mark Hurd, HP. Overnight you change. But husband, wife, dad, grandpa, you have the title forever. So don't miss your priority, because in the end, that's always the most important thing. So Li Kai-fu, everyone knows he's Google's president of China. Carnegie Mellon PhD, very prominent. He started a fund company himself, living in China. He was racing with his staff, see who can respond to an email right away at any hour, any time. So 3:30 in the morning, someone sent an email. 3:35, he responded it. So he was bragging about that. So everyone start that spirit of who can work the longest. Then he got diagnosed with cancer. And then he put a press release. He said, I was wrong to push everyone to work hard. You got to balance. Your health is the most important. Without health, if your car's broken down, you can't get to where you want to be. If you don't take care of your car, you say, I don't have time to fix the car. I don't have time to put gas in my car. I got to get to the meeting. You're not going to get there. So John Chambers, who I work with in Wang days, he runs U.S. operation. I ran the Asia-Pacific region. Before that, he was running Asia. So he learned a lot of the culture in Chinese, working for Dr. Wang, played tennis with me, Fred Wang. We all are on the tennis team. Joe Tucci's with Wang. He's now the EMC. So he learned the culture. He knows how to respect people. And also, He's exactly with IBM, exactly at Wang. When he joined Cisco, that's when he took off. Everything he learned, he implemented into his original talent and expertise. And a few things I noticed that in Wang, we have very tough problem with product R&D. You spend a lot of money, you never know it's going to happen or not, and you got problem. And he learned that Cisco will not have R&D. Cisco will buy any company that is successful. We much rather pay to buy a successful company than to build our own, because there is no, you don't know when an R&D. It's something that never been done before. You don't know how much money will be put in. Tight credit. When you run Asia, the distributors in India, Malaysia, all that distributors, when they start building business and getting more revenue for you, they said, can I have a better credit term? So we said, yeah, you know, you started with 3 million, now you're doing 10 million. We'll give you 3 months credit, but now we'll give you 6 months credit. And guess what? They built up to 15 million, that 9 months credit, and then they disappeared. So he learned from that. So Cisco, when I was at iSoftStone, we are a gold partner with Cisco. And there was a bill that if you don't pay in 60 days, they cut out everything. They said there is no discussion on that. That's why Cisco is successful. They learned from that. Ross Perot, when I worked, he sold the company to EDS, sold to General Motors. But Ross Perot is known to be the leader that cares for his staff. If his staff wife is having a medical problem, he'll know about it because HR are very interlinked. He'll fly a company plane to take the wife to urgency into Boston, Mass General, and all that. He'll care the most for staff's, employees, family, and if you have baby that has medical problem, he'll get the best treatment for them. When you do that, employee kill for you, right? I mean, who's near and dear to you? Your baby, your wife, your husband. And when he take care of that, he's got the company. The deal, when he go for a deal to fight IBM and everyone, he will go and camp out next to the, Blue Cross Blue Shield in Boston. He'll camp out in Waltham with his team, live there. Every day he'll go to the client. He said, trust me, we'll do this. He won most of the deal when he bring the team out there. So it's amazing how. Li Ka-sheng, he's not a technology person. He's the richest person in Asia, Li Jiacheng. Started with plastic flower business. He's well known that anyone who partnered with him, he said, I want to make sure my partner always get a good return. He would never shortchange anyone. And that worked for him. He's 31 billion asset. The fun part is that he's got 2 sons that are very successful running his family business. So press interview said, 李嘉诚你还是很俭省 you don't spend a lot of money. You are very, watching every dollar. He said, yeah, that's my habit of, growing up poor. And he said, well, your 2 sons don't seem to be saving that much money like you do. He said, yeah, that I noticed. They have a rich father. I did not have a rich father, So overall, I find that the book on emotional intelligence 2.0, how many people read this book? Emotional Intelligence 2.0. If not, get on the website, get that book. It talks about IQ. We're born with it. Okay, I could never get into MIT or anyone like Tsinghua because we changed schools when I was in Bourbon. You can put a gun to me, I can study 22 hours a day, I not get it. Those IQ Top Gun, they read that, they got it. So IQ, you're born. That's why someone that's 6 years old, Beethoven and all that, they can recite the whole musical note. It's born with that, right? I'm not blaming my parents for that, but however, EQ, you were born with 0. It's how you grow up, how you interface with people, how you treat people, and that's what the EQ is. So, and the book talk about they surveyed 6,000 people in corporate world, taking out the doctors, the lawyers, and the owners of that. Those who are successful in cooperation, you talk about how can Asian rise higher, it's EQ. EQ meaning you're always courteous to people, you respect people, you don't make people lose face, you don't yell and lose your temper on people, and you always have a much broader shoulder. And that's all the characteristic of Confucius culture, the Asian that you were all brought up in. So you are way ahead in getting ahead in corporate world. Only if you continue to listen to my slides, but I got to go fast because it's a lot of material. We can always have a different time to do that. And last 2 Fridays ago, Jack Ma from the school teacher, why is he successful? He has a dream, and then he learned, and then he used his familiar Chinese market. He get that successful because internet has no boundary, and they find a big chunk of revenue through internet are coming to Alibaba from U.S. People are making a living buying product from Alibaba and sell it in U.S. So back to one slide on why China. I think this has to be saying why all of you who has the Asian culture training, or if you don't, then you need to learn. So I know in the audience there's all multinational people, Americans and all. So you need to know is why should I pay attention to China? You look at China, U.S. debt, 2/3 is owned by China. China has to export, the majority of the export comes to U.S. So if China closed the door on America, U.S. Cannot pay back the debt. U.S. closed the door on China, China have no place to ship, and they are going to have goods pile up at the dock, and no place to go. There's no revenue coming back. So the two countries has to work together, and that promotes the world economy, the first and second largest economy, and second is the world peace. Asia, powerhouse, Chinese have the largest troop of army, 2.2 million, And so all of that have to live in harmony. So all of you, your next generation, is going to deal with China, U.S., the two culture. And those who spend time and learn and get ahead and get to know both, which you are in much more advantageous position. For Americans to learn Chinese culture, this is what the book is targeted for. It's a lot harder, but it's a good way to start. And I was at MIT Sloan School conference, and the dean got a book. He said, we need to make this book a textbook because nobody have ever written culture this simple, easy to understand, and yet to make the business sense and people interface are all involved in this 100 lessons. So this is, we don't need to go more on why China. I mean, it's preaching to the choir, but for those audience who still don't think they need to pay attention, from the Western eyes, you have to, because the wealthiest nation today is China. They're spending tourists, high-tech, automobile, you name it, they have that. So that's a different. So what did I know about culture? Culture is when you cannot produce success leaving your home country. Culture is a factor that impedes you from being successful. So I will skip this, and because the book is all about culture, understanding culture. And I just mentioned when I was in EDS and Wang, when I was sent to Asia and they sent back the American, and the business took off. In everywhere I go in Asia, understanding culture gives you the best way to support a corporation. So this is the book. I picked the very key lessons that is good for business, good for interfacing with your multicultural friends. Sun Tzu is known to be the strategist general, and then that book was out in Europe in the 18th century. German, French has already tried to learn this art of war. So Sun Tzu兵法, I am very sensitive to, and Sun Tzu兵法是知己知彼，百战百胜. Know yourself, know your enemy, there lies the victory, the strategy for victory. But here with the two cultures, we're not at war. We're here to interface and build a partnership. So you have to say, know yourself, know your opponent. There lies the strategy of partnership, working, leveraging that. It's called leveraging. This is my favorite slide. When Obama was elected, he went to Japan, met with Emperor, and he bowed the protocol very deep. And of course, the political attack would say, hey, Obama don't have to bow that low, because Dick Cheney, Republican vice president, when he went, he only bowed a little. We are America, we don't have to bow that low. This is ignorant of culture, because when you go to Japan to build relationship, you pay respect to their culture. And they said, because President Obama bowed that low, Emperor also bowed back. Emperor never bowed back to any visitor. So now I like the example is if you go to visit Queen of England, they have their protocol. Because the purpose of you go there is to promote respect relationship. You don't go to say, hey, Queen, how you doing? You don't do that. You don't go there to insult people. Otherwise, don't go. So when you are there, you respect. 入乡随俗. When you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. And that's the proper protocol to build relationship. So this is, everybody know, Chinese culture come from thousands of years of Confucius who defined the protocol. Parent, children, husband, wife, teacher, student, all of that is a culture guideline on respect. Qin Shi Huang, why do we mention him among all of that? Because he's the leader that unites the whole China. He's also the tough leader that built Great Wall. He's also had his shortcoming. He doesn't like scholars. He doesn't like smart people. So all of you, if you live in Qin Shi Huang day, you'll be skeletons because you're too smart for him. And that's him. But to be able to make something happen, like Great Wall, those who, you've all been to Great Wall, you can't even imagine looking down to see all the mountains and all, and they built this thing so solid that lasts for thousands of years. And you have to be tough to make that happen. So, 孙子兵法, respect, Asian has the utmost respect to their boss, to their parents, grandparents, teachers, That is built into our childhood upbringing. This is my favorite slide, the two sports that the publicly watch and observe. In Western society, they are very straightforward. They have something, they will tell you. They don't like something, they raise their hand. So that's the Western culture. Boxing is the same thing, At the end of third ring, fourth ring, fifth round, you know who's winning because, the one who's got bloody nose or lying on the floor, he's the loser. But Kung Fu, you get up there, the judges looking at you, go, hi, hi, hi. And then you bow and you get off. You say, hey, who won? 谁赢啊？根本看不出来. He already touched me here, hard. If he has a knife, I'm dead already. But he's saving your face, he said. So the judge knows the two knows, and they got off. And that's the result. So the two distinctive culture. Asians do not speak up. They save face. They don't, want to make you feel uncomfortable. Western to say, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to just, make you lie on the floor. So judging from that, when you are in the Western world, want to get ahead, you got to speak up. Don't say, oh, he should be able to predict what I feel. You say, Chinese 老板, always say, oh, 老板, I just work hard. He's going to take care of me. Yeah, like he will. Year end, he'll give you a little check. You say, 啊，这么少? Yeah, 公司比较困难啊，明年好了. So that's it. No, you define what my goal is, and you have to pay me when I make my target. That's the Western side. So you got to know which way. If you have a Chinese boss, you make sure he write down your performance and how he's going to pay you at the year end. How would he measure your performance? If not, you're not going to get ahead. So feng shui is part of integral side. We set the numbers. 4, 4 is rhymes with debt, so you avoid that, and that's now in Wall Street and buildings that they sell anything ending in 4. They found out that it's very hard to sell. So 938, Olympic was 2008, August 8 at 8 o'clock. Even Chinese government said that, it's a good 好意头. 4 is rhyme with not good. So if I was at the Pepper Beach Realtor conference and they said, oh, we show them end in 4, they just said, don't waste the time. I'm not going to look at anything ends in 4. No. And in Hong Kong, there's no 14th floor. There's no 24th floor. There's 13, 15, 13A, and then go to 15. So guess what? This is on Highway 405. I saw a taxi with this number. So this is a culture, It's okay here, but you'll never find that in Asia. This is in Beijing Hotel, Cars ends in 9. That one is all 8. This is Rolls-Royce sitting in Beijing, one of the big hotels. So Asian, do not speak up, because we're in a classroom. We take notes. We listen to professors. We said, professor, write down whatever you copy. If something's wrong, you just keep quiet or you go to see the professor afterwards. But in the Western, a college here, people put their feet up. Professor, there's a mistake there. And professor, I don't think so. Yeah, that is a mistake. Okay, go show me. And you go up there and you show. Thank you. Give him a hand. Thank you, John. I didn't know. I didn't realize. In Chinese school, professor or Taiwan 大学, 你叫什么名字? What's your name again? Let me write down. You will never pass my course because I'm going to remember you make me lose face. So that's a culture thing. So where you are, you need to know. If you're in a Western society, speak up and, be more outspoken. See, in a room, I took a long time to get the artist to draw something so that it's very easy for you to see. And say, but this is for Western people to learn Chinese culture. But for Chinese people, when you see that, you're going to say, oh, 反面教材. Oh, this is how we were looked upon in the Western society, so I should change. So this book is just as good to you and your children. So it's people think Asians don't speak up. So I got to speak up when I'm in a Western society because this is how I can get acclimated, I get to recognize. You say, how come I don't get promotion? I never know what you think. In a meeting, you never ask questions. You never state what you want to do. And, how can I promote someone that I don't know what she's thinking? So in a business meeting, the same thing. Does everybody agree with this plan? Even though you don't agree, but if you're Asian, you normally may not raise your hand. You'll just say, son, No, in the Western society, if you don't agree, you say, hey, I got a problem with that. And it's not offending them. They like you to do that. But in the Asian culture, that's offending me in front of you. 你当着人家提出这样的问题，我就记住你 ，OK， 我回头跟你算账。And I'll take care of you later on. You make me lose face. That's the Asian. So when you have to know where you are in society, this is Lenovo acquisition. And they got big problem because they got Emilio being the CEO. He's going to roll out a plan, and then everyone's agreed. Later, the Yang Yanqing chairman come to Emilio and said, Emilio, that plan's not going to work in China. What do you mean? Larry Lee and Henry Zhang was in the meeting. They're in charge of China. We roll out the program. Everybody raised their hand, said it looks fine. Nobody opposed to that. He said, oh, they don't want to offend you. That's why they don't raise their hand. So he went to them, and Larry said, why do you stab me in the back? Okay, why do you go to my boss? And they said, well, it's not going to work there. Why don't you tell me? He said, you didn't ask me. I didn't know you want to listen to my feedback. So it's a big, and then a year later, Emilio left, and Yang Yanqing stepped down from chairman to take over as the CEO. So dress code is different. When you say come casual in Asia, that means take off your tie and come business casual. But in the Western side, it said, oh, casual. They come in jeans and T-shirts. And in Hong Kong, when I entertain people on weekends, and they are not allowed to go into American club dining room because they don't allow sneakers. So Those are the things we quickly learn. Restaurant, they fight for bill. And as a respect, I watching this, so they two fight, and then the Americans say, hey, what are they fighting for? Oh, they're fighting to pay the bill. Oh, we fight not to pay. Why do they fight to pay? It's a respect. So this is I see that as a good practice to have, because this is 小钱, but you make people appreciate you. So that would be successful in saving face. I'm gonna go quit. And people who don't tell you, and directly, because they don't want the rejection, in front. So this is about a big contracting U.S. company. They flew to Japan, and they were hosted by Japanese executive, and 2 days, and sightseeing, and dinner banquet, and saw them off at the airport. And they all high-fived, said, yeah, we got the deal. They treat us so nice. And they landed in New York, and there was a fax said, sorry, we're not going to do business with you. Your bid is too high. And they said, oh, I don't understand. They treat us so nice. He said, yeah, Asians treat all visitors very nice. What's in their mind, they don't tell you directly. So these are cultured on that, You know Dragon Boat story. How about your children? My children know Dragon Boat, they eat 粽子. I said, what's the story of a 粽子? Well, it's about somebody commits suicide and some. If you know the story in the audience with the Western friends, you can dominate the leadership in explaining. Do you know why? Like mooncake, all of that. Education, never lose sight of focusing on identity. This also is a child that my artists spend a lot of time, the father and the mother, It's the same. It's today, that has to continue. Even your children were brought up here, don't let go on education. 关系, I think this is all relation. Never lose your temper in any business, wherever you are. Once you lost your temper once, you cannot recover. People remember that. And this is why the EQ talk about, your EQ has to be high enough to never lose your cool. Dress up. Someone said, oh, I got passed with no promotion. He said, why am I not being passed? I said, okay, let me assume in a meeting, team meeting, you don't speak up. You don't voice. Even if you agree, you don't say, I like the idea, and I really think it's a good idea, but maybe if you can do this, it will even be better. So you let the boss know how you think, and you're supporting him. You got to speak up. Then you said, okay, you come to work. You're technical guys. You're all technical. You come in, work, dressed like Steve Jobs, right? T-shirt, jeans, this is just everybody does. But in a Western society, then they'll say, okay, if I'm going to promote someone, I want to promote someone that's presentable. I mean, you got nice clothes at home. Why can't you wear nicer clothes to come? Khaki pants and a white shirt and proper shoes, They said, you got to dress up for your next job that you want to be. So when your boss look at it, oh, Kate, speak up and participate, involve. She looks presentable. She's got good, yes?
You're talking about assimilating yourself in the environment you're in. When you're in Rome, do what the Romans do, right? In a technical company like Microsoft, like Google, whatever, they are all dressed down, right? And if you try to dress differently, you're not assimilating yourself into the company's culture.
Very good. But you don't have to compete with them on who could do more casual. You come in with slippers and, and people do that, shorts and all that, right? But there's a proper, nicer image you can create. You are what you look, right? You look in the mirror. I can wear a light blue shirt and a khaki pants and a pair of sneakers. Would I look better than a lot of other people? Yes. I can wear something plain color and, a dark, jeans. I look better too. So that's a different. I'm not saying you got to go to Chanel and get, the expensive. No. In EDS, the same thing. We changed the dress code because in the past, Ross Perot said, you got to have matching suit and all of that. And they changed it to casual. But guess what? Those who interface with customers, those who are supporting customers, have to go visit customers. They dress nice but low profile, you can do that, you know. So it's a image how you want to present yourself. I mean, good point, you know. So bitter medicine, you know, is better for your 良药苦口利于病，忠言逆耳利于行. You know, someone who come and tell you things you don't want to hear, or you feel it's hard to hear, and to accept, it's the person who really care for you. You know, come and say, hey, you know, you got ink on your face and all. Your competitor will love to let you look bad, you know. Someone who care for you will come. So you have to have an attitude. Someone tells you, why you pronounce this incorrectly. You say, oh, thank you for telling me. Because only people who care for you will tell you things, because otherwise they'll say, oh, yeah, do a good job, you know, keep doing. So tough coach produce champion. That's, you know, always, you know. So it's that being tough parents, children will most likely will be outstanding, you know, but got to start from young. So you never see a coach say, hey, practice whenever you want, and they're not going to get a gold medal, right? So, and always be humble that 三人行必有我师, you know, when there's more than two people, someone can be my teacher. And that is so true. I mean, I traveled to Singapore. I jump in a taxi from airport to hotel, and I start talking to the taxi. Hey, you know, 新加坡路这么乱啊，你们一定是花很多时间去了解这街道啊。Yeah, 我考试考了3次。He said, oh, I said, Singapore road so difficult to remember. You guys must be very smart to do that. Oh, I took 3 times the test. You know, let me tell you. I said, hey, how's the economy? They tell you everything. So, you know, half an hour right. The next day review, I just tell them, hey, you know, economy is coming back up. They say, hey, how do you know these things? I said, street people teach me. And that taxi driver was my teacher, because I was humble and respectful. You know, it happens all. So how do you get ahead? You know, the left side you already know. You know, we talk about 秦始皇功夫易经. You know, 易经 is the art of change. You got to change yourself, acclimate yourself all the time. Never lose your temper. All that we cover. And then how do you get ahead? Charity. This is not seen in our upbringing. You know, we all come in from, you know, I run away from Burma from Yunnan to Burma to China to Taiwan as refugee, then U.S. graduate school. I was doing the factory, and then I go to school and I go to work. So I never thought about giving charity. I said, you know, why? I don't even have enough. And then as I start getting better, I just say, I still don't have enough. Okay, at some level, I realized that 比上不足，比下有余. You know, you can compare with the rich people. You say, I still don't have enough, so someday I'll give charity. No, charity got to start right away. 比上不足 meaning you're still better than millions of people there. You have a job. Mother Teresa said, oh, you get so tired coming home after work. You know, my boss is so tough on me. And Mother Teresa said, be thankful. There are 400 million people that don't have jobs. So it's all relative. So I said, you got to give, even though you are not rich, as you said, but you're better than us. Speak up. You know, don't be quiet in the meeting. Whatever you think, you are in a Western society, you got to acclimate yourself. You don't speak up, nobody knows what you are thinking. If you're right, defend your point. You know, 美国就是仗义. You know, you watch John Wayne movie. That's American spirit. Something's not right. You know, someone's beating up a child. You know, you just say, wait. What are you trying to do? You know, I mean, in China on newspaper, you see, you know, someone fell on the floor. Everybody just walk around them. You know, say, hey, 不要搞, 麻烦. You know, it's too much work. No, you got to have the heart. You know, and there is no shortcuts. You know, you see all the time. You know, America is a law-abiding, you know, country. Don't mess with the law. Don't try to think you can get by. You know, you still read newspaper and you say, oh, Chinese student got caught with speeding. They got pulled over, and he pulled out $200 bill to give to the police. It may work in China, but they just handcuff you. Say, oh, you're bribing me. You know, it doesn't work. So Or they got visa application, they lie on the visa. Oh, no, I didn't do this, I didn't. Everything's on record. And when you sign underneath, you are admitting that you will be prosecuted when you make, and you find a lot of people just got barred from entering U.S. or visa for the next 10 years because they did not fill in the right. So you got to watch out for these. Honesty is the best policy, just straight. People, I have friends that just got here and they say, oh, every store you can go return the goods. So, we have Christmas party the company has, so I go to Macy and got a nice dress. I put the label in the back, tape it, and I wear that once and I return it. I save money, And then there was another one in the newspaper said, the parents come, they go to Vegas for sightseeing, Grand Canyon. And as they just drove out and they said, oh, I forgot to bring my camera. They said, oh, no, we'll go to Costco, buy one. And then they take picture. After 5 days, they went back and returned the camera to Costco. Hey, I'm smart. That's taking advantage. The reason people here say you can return anything, no questions asked, is they trust you. When they trust you, you got to trust them back. You take advantage of that, you're not going to get too far. Some point in time, you're going to. Chinese banquet, you are in advantage. What do you get ahead? You can say, oh, Chinese New Year is coming. Normally you just say, oh, have you tried the Chinese banquet? They serve 8 courses and all that. So you said, and your supervisor or whoever said, no, I haven't tried it. Okay, I like to, it's Chinese New Year is appreciation. I like to invite you and family to try a banquet. Or dim sum, that's not expensive. Dim sum has a story, Cantonese dim sum, 点心, why. So it's give you a reason to invite, your supervisor, your boss, your peer to a place where it doesn't cost much. So that's appreciation. When you do that, people say, wow, John Chen's really appreciating. Nobody do that. Americans just say, oh, we'll go to dinner. Okay, Dutch, $25 for you, we divide the bill. But this is 小钱. When you do that as a respect and gesture, you promote good relationship. I was in EDS and then European chief and Asia Pacific, I'm the president, Asia Pacific, European president. We come back in corporate meeting. I always bring a little gift to the secretaries and all. Then after 2 years and and people just say, Ed, when you come back, everybody loves to see you, And but the European guy, he's a British, He come back, he always complain, you guys don't do this, you guys don't do this. He said, it's a night and day to see him and to see you, I said, and but I did a performance. I was my target go up, and I got promoted to finally EDS, $18 billion. I was the top 20 executive. They gave me an airplane to take me to Asia. The air travels a lot, give him a jet. So why? Because you have to perform, you treat people nice, you respect people. And the secretary all loved me because I stopped in Japan, I would buy this keychain, Japanese doll, $2. I buy a bunch and then I just go to say, hey, Karen, I got this from airport, it's not expensive. I just thought, oh, wow, look at that, what Ed brought me from Japan. Nobody ever brought anything for me from Japan, And so, those are the respect and all that. If you don't have mentor in headquarters, 朝中无人莫做官, that is, if you're going to go head up Microsoft somewhere in China, you make sure someone back here in the higher ranking knows you and be your mentor. Otherwise, you'll be forgotten out in the field. That's just the way it works. If you want to be ambassador, you make sure Washington, D.C. has someone look out for you. Because in rainy days, I was in Asia, all my 40 years, Wang Lab, and all, I always have someone back in corporate that is my mentor. Because, in March review, they say, oh, Ed Yang's not doing well. First quarter business is down. And then my mentor said, oh, you don't understand. Chinese New Year, it's a holiday there, so next quarter they'll pick up. Then they got cover. If you don't have someone, they just, oh, Ed Yang's not doing good. Then the next bad news, 3 bad news, they say, oh, we better replace him. So 没有人帮你讲话, you got to do that. So when you go to the senior organization, someone who you can click, get to study his background, go to him, say, I need some career advice. I wonder if I can bother you for 5 minutes. Anyone. I was a senior vice president. I love to see young, hardworking people come in. Can I have 5 minutes of it? I said, sure, sit down, I got all these meetings. I got tired anyway. I like to listen to someone and say, oh, I'm doing this, and I was just wondering what should I do. And oh, I think you should do this. Then he go away. Thank you note to him. Holiday, you come back and say, thank you for giving me the advice. I really appreciate that. Can you be my mentor? I need someone to learn. Oh, don't say mentor, but when you need help, come to me. Once you say mentor, he owns you. It's like, Gambaba. Whenever you call him, he said, oh yeah, John needs help. I gotta help him. Because everyone loves to bring up, some young, aggressive, and appreciative people. So that's how you get ahead. See, this respect, education, all these you already know these, right? How do you leverage this? On the Western side, language fluency, You come to America, went to big, great school, great university and all that. Did you ever spend time getting your language up? Is it Rosetta Stone? Did I say Reseda or Reseda? Reseda. So buy a $250 package of Reseda Stone, put it on your laptop. Every morning, Rosetta? Rosetta. See, I need people to help me to be better. Rosetta Stone teach you language. You put it on your computer. It comes with a package that 2 people can use. Every morning, 15 minutes, practice that. Learn language. I learned Cantonese when I was assigned to Hong Kong. Every owner at the end of closing, they want to talk to me in Cantonese. And I said, I better learn Cantonese. So every morning I listen to news. Close the door so people don't think, your family don't think you are going nuts. You say, 今日天氣好好點? So you learn that up and down, and then you can listen to CNN, This morning, Hong Kong's got the riots, and we are got in the challenge of President Xi, and so you just follow them on that. So after 6 months, you're going to see, don't be afraid to speak up, because that's what first thing you need to do is that, not to learn computer, data, structure and all that, So all these, I think someone said my time's up. I think it's a high-tech control. Where's Daniel when we need him? Anyway, I think that's a good way. That was my last slides anyway. The rest is like question and answer. So any questions that you may have? Yes?
So at your level, which is very, very high up, how
very old.
How do you still get people to give you feedback? Because I think feedback is very hard to provide.
That's a very good question. The higher you are, Dr. Wang is, high up, right? People don't go to him. 高处不胜寒, people were afraid to go. I make a point. That's why Dr. Wang walk around, right? When I walk around, I walk to a programmer's desk and say, hey, what are you doing today? What kind of... You spend 10 minutes, you now know what is he doing and helping and doing all that. So you go to them. And, I would sometimes I go to cafeteria and sit down. Ross Perot is a great leader. When he sold his company to General Motors, the board meeting happens. He goes there a day ahead. He goes to the cafeteria and got a sandwich and sit down with the GM worker. Hey, I'm Ross Perot. I'm on the board. Tell me what's happening. What do you do? So when he go to board meeting, he was attacking Roger Smith. Do you know what's happening down there? So after 2 board meetings, Roger Smith said, Ross Perot, here's a check. We want you to leave the board. You always attack. But getting feedback, the higher up is, there's always, I will always chat with receptionists. First, they are pretty girls. Second, they are very courteous. Third, and I'll give you a story on that. In Hong Kong, when I was sent to run Asia, and we have a new building, Citibank in the central, and so I noticed every 6 months and all, we have a new face at the reception. So I got the HR and I said, hey, why do we have new faces at the two girls? The face always changed, the name changed. He said, oh, that's the lowest pay job. People always advance and transfer them. I said, that's not right, because that's the first thing people come into EDS. They get to see and they get to receive. You should raise the pay. And in fact, I said, you know what? You should give them 500 Hong Kong dollar per month support for dress. You know, you can't tell them dress up nice. You say, I'm giving you $500 津贴, 补贴 for dress expenses. And then I said, the next two receptionists I would like to interview, plus the pay scale should raise up. So when they got the final receptionist, I personally interviewed them and sit down and I go through all that and I said, do you know who has the most important job? She said, you. I said, no, you. I said, I don't see 200 clients or answering 500 phone calls. You do. Everything you say, every person that you smile at, reflect EDS company, reflects me and everybody. So that's why you're very important. So, and then Secretary's Day, New Year, in the sales management meeting, I said, how many of you thought about getting flowers, chocolate to the two receptionists, you know, Florence and Diane? I said, appreciation. They took your calls. You know, they answered to your client. So the two just like, you know, and then our president came from Dallas to visit. I introduced them. This is Florence, this is Diane, you know, look at this baby, her baby, look at this. Shook hand. I said, take a picture, you know, took a picture with them and give it to them. They put it on their phones. 10 years later, they were still there. They are the most happy people. And this is how you treat people and feedback. So I would always love to, you know, at the time just go chat with them. Hey, how's things, you know? What's happening to client? They tell you because they see things happen everywhere. But if you go ask them, you know, no matter how high you are, the higher you are, the more you respect them. You go to talk. My driver in Hong Kong, you know, if there's no client and all that, I'll sit in the front with him and I say, hey, let's go have lunch. Come on, he'll kill for me, you know, because this is how you treat them. And I was there 9 years. He was there 9 years for me. And then now he sent me pictures of his children and all. So, 人与人之间, you know, all of you have the advantage because you learn how to respect people, courtesy. You have to implement to your advantage. But on the Western side, how do you get ahead in cooperation? Be aggressive, stand up. You have a good idea, stand up and present it, you know, prepare. Put aside, you know, if you don't mind, I have 3 slides to share with you. Okay, go ahead. Now your leadership coming because you spend time, you know the stuff, and you shine. Because staying humble and quiet, nobody's going to know what you have. So that's in the Western society, you know. In the Asian society, everyone waits for your turn. You know, you're going to get there, you know, 10 years later, you'll be a director, senior director. No, in U.S., it's the capable person goes up. This is why the market, the creativity, everything happened. It doesn't have to follow the norm. In Japan, you know, assistant manager sits at the head of the table here. And all the staff sit left and right. So if he doesn't go home, nobody goes home. So he will not go home unless the one in the office, you know, a general manager don't go home. So general manager stay at 7, he stayed at 8, everybody stays at 9 p.m. You don't climb, you don't jump your position. You have something to say, you're making me bad to go to my boss, you are dead in the world. The society, you cannot survive. But here, Google, whoever, you have idea, you speak up. You know, that's why the company needs people like you. And you have a lot of ideas. But if you don't say it, nobody knows. Put in a PowerPoint. Write a little note to whoever, you know, the CEO. CEO love to hear from you guys, you know. I was in the factory when I was graduate school. I was running the machine in the factory. Then I want to apply for graduate school. I need a reference. So I told my supervisor, I said, I wonder if the CEO would write a recommendation letter for me. I'm just a worker here. I got $2.20 an hour, Oh, just go ahead and ask. So I call up and say, I'm down here at the machine room. I'm applying for graduate school. I was wondering if I can have Mr. Roger write me a, oh, yeah, come on up. So I went in he said, oh, what do you need? So I walk in his office. I say, I've been here a year and a half, and I want to do this. And, oh, I'd be glad to. Just give her all the information. He wrote it very nice. He said, we're going to sorry to see you go, but if you graduated and got your degree, come back, Everyone, the high up, they don't get to high up by being mean to people. Of course, unless you are the founder, and it's an exception, you're the lawyer, you're the doctor, I have 2 doctors in my family. I can't talk to them. He's just too. But people who climb the rank, I always love to see anyone have new idea. Come on, talk to me, And I love to hear that, because this is his job, is to find out who can help him more in the subject matter that you do. So thank you for the question. Any other question? Is there anything on the screen? Or? So see, that's the thing I encourage you. Asian don't ask questions, And in Hong Kong, I will put out $100. So whoever the ask question, get the $100. Everybody raise their hands. I don't have that much money to give everyone. Yes.
So when you talk about a mentor, so I always had this concern. So
Right.
I think mentor on one side is you guide your career going. On the other side is it will be grateful if you have somebody when you hit some issues in your work, in your place, you can have somebody to help you to go over to seek a solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but I feel like that's a negative way. So
like you're showing that you are not capable to solve the problem, right? If you have a boss, everyone has a boss. My wife's my boss, I don't go to her that much because she always come to me. She always watch over me, say, you're not doing this right. The dishes is dirty. I said, you can always fire me, so I don't have to wash dishes, right? No, I think if you're a supervisor, first is you have a heart-to-heart, kind of ask for 5-10 minutes. You need to initiate that. You say, I have a lot of respect to you being my boss. I appreciate. You do some study on his style, his background. Oh, I like that. You did a paper on Carnegie Mellon. That was very smart. And so you first show you have given time. Understand. Then you say, I'm new in a certain area and I don't know everything. I try hard. I'm a good learner. There are times I may have things I don't understand. Can I come to you for that? I know your time is precious, but if you give me a little time, then it will help me a lot to be more productive. I'm a team. Use those words, team, respect, really appreciate it. I mean, your boss has to be a nut to say, no, don't come to me. Unless you finish your work, you don't know how to do your work, I fire you. No. He's going to say, hey, of course. Come to me, I'll have some space. If you need some special time, let me know, or tell my secretary. You just and you go with, I just need 5 minutes of time. You put all the problems. You say, this is what I do. You got to do more. You say, I need you to help me. I got 3 options. So you're already giving me. One is to do it this way. One is to do it. He said, I would do the second way. Done. 5 minutes. You come back. And he will appreciate this. Oh, you really want to. He said, I don't want to mess it up. Then for you to find out it's too late. So at this point, you give me 5 minutes. I can be much more productive to be your team member. Who's not going to help you, right? You're going to do your work. You give him 3 choices. I always love 3 choices because people come to me and say, A, B, C, I just wasn't sure what. I said, do the B, So if you say, I don't know how to do it, you say, oh, you want me to do your job for you? So at least put something ahead to put it up there. And you know that. So after a while, you build a much special relationship with your boss because he's going to say, what's your name?
Goji.
Yeah, Goji always try hard, and she want to learn. She registered to me, said, hey, Goji, this is something you just wondering, go do that. Maybe we'll send you for training to get better there. You got to stand out with your characteristic and your good attitude. Human being, they will love to support you. So, don't be afraid. The most tough one is you are shy and you don't want to go approach people. Then you're going to say, Goji, I just look at your work. That was terrible. Why didn't you come to see me before you spend so much time on it? That's the much worse situation, right? So that's Western culture. They just say, even Asian culture is the same thing. I was struggling in I go to my professor and say, I'm from Burma. I changed schools many times, political, all that. I'm not really understanding some of that. Can you help me point someone to help me out? He said, oh, okay. Because his job is to teach. If you don't understand, he's not doing his job. He said, okay, I'll get the 助教, help you with that. Hey, 老李, 你花点时间帮忙他. Right? That's their job, But you go with a good attitude, Human being, they always will help him. So, yeah.
One question is triggered. It's like how about when you talk to the boss's boss?
Right.
Basically different. You kind of like jump.
Skipping over him.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a tough one. You don't go to boss's boss without getting your boss to know. Okay. Or if someone, it happens all the time. Say she's your boss, okay, and I'm the next boss. So I walk by and I just say, oh, how did you do this? And then you just, oh, this is what it, hey, that's very smart. Can you get back to me on further things? So now you say, oh my God, my boss is asking you to do something. So first thing is you go to her and say, oh, Ed Yang just come by and he asked me about this. I just want to let you know he wants me to give him a further report. And I want to make sure that, it's okay with you because you're my boss. I respect you on that. So she's going to say, this is good, go. So you send me something, you copy her to make sure she's always in the loop. If I say, Goji, come on, I have some project I want to see what you think. You're going to say, oh, is it okay I bring my boss together? Oh, that's okay. I'll just tell her you don't need to. Then you go to her and say, I was asked to go, but I want you to know this is what he asked. I did ask to bring you to. He said that's okay. He'll talk to you. So you always keep her in mind. Then you're okay. If you don't, she'll find out say, 你完蛋了. Very few people can fight with the direct boss and survive. Very few. It does happen. You got other harassment, then of course it's different. But he's up there, you're down there, he throw a flower pot, it's on your head. You cannot always look up, So you're at disadvantage, but never do that. Unless you really have no choice, then you got to do that. Then you have to give a choice to say, I'm going to either leave or I go to the big boss and say, I asked to transfer. I like this company. And here are the things that are telling me that I don't have a chemistry with my boss. Don't say she's bad or he's bad, because then you're attacking. When I let people go, I never degrade their ability, because if a manager doesn't do the job, after 6 months, 9 months of talking, I say, John, I think we're given enough time, and the chemistry is not there for you in this company, and I have to do my job and ask you to leave. But I'm going to give you good reference. I'm going to, So you treat people like they like to be treated. So, if that's the case, you would not upset because she know that, you shine. Because I was the same thing when Dr. Wang came to visit in Hong Kong, and I was sales manager, and then he has to see clients. Client comes in and I have to be on the side to introduce, or I know all the clients. So, and then press release, he wants me to sit next to him. So people ask about Hong Kong business, he doesn't know. So he looked at me and I answered. So after his trip, he went back, and a month later, he needed to send someone to China for joint venture negotiation. And all of a sudden, I got a call. My boss, Dr. Wang is my boss's boss's boss, right? So my boss called me and said, when's the last time you talked to Dr. Wang? I said, I don't talk to Dr. Wang. He's a big shit. He only come here last month, Hong Kong. I spent 2 days with client reception. Yeah, why did he want you to go do the joint venture negotiation? So he was like, so I said, I don't know. I never talked to him. So I keep him in the loop, and then that's fine. So, you have a question.
I think one of the best ways to be somewhere is to look at people who are already there. Like, you can look at the CEOs if you want to be the CEOs. But I'm looking at you, Ed, and I love that you are in this cross-cultural current place where you can actually help a lot of corporations. So who are the different Eds out there that are kind of in your position to help international companies that maybe we can learn from if we are interested in becoming someone kind of like you who knows the culture and be able to introduce companies into really assimilating folks into a different culture?
So you say, who are the... Oh.
Like, are there people doing what you do, kind of specifically?
That's a tough question.
Thing?
I like to say I'm the only one, but no, it's not true. There's a lot of... If you go on Amazon on culture, you get a lot. But when I wrote this book, I thought about it a lot, and I said, the thing that is different than others is that it's my experience. Every lesson in there, there's 2,000, Chinese action and whatever saying, I picked these because they all relate to the business that I had experienced, and I have a story to tell on each one. And so I find it very practical for, even you know more about culture than me, but in here there's 100 lessons, how do you use it? 灵活使用, banquet, so like said, 酒逢知己千杯少, when you meet people, when you click with someone, 1,000 glasses of wine is not enough. 话不投机半句多. If you don't click someone, half a conversation, you ran out of words to say, okay? So when you're at a banquet with, or Western people and all that, you just say, I'm so touched by all of your warm reception, and I may be in Australia, we signed a $500 million deal with South Australia Premier, so in the banquet I stand up and I say, Chinese saying, 酒逢知己千杯少, 话不投机半句多. We find that we are totally in sync with, the warmth and the feeling, the partnership that we're going to be building together. And you say, so it's a good, phrase to use. People say, wow, that is 1,000 years of wisdom that I explained to them, right? Well, or you said, there's no banquet that doesn't end, What's that in Chinese? Huh? Yeah, 天下无不散的宴席. You just said, we so enjoy the dinner together, but every good thing must come to an end. Chinese saying, 天下无不散的宴席. This is a time we propose a toast to say, may the partnership be prosper and continued good health to everyone. We're going to make this partnership happen. People sit there and say, wow, this is a lot of wisdom. So you put in 6,000 years of wisdom through you to your partners and your Western friends. America has 200 years of history, okay? You go further back, it's British and Italian, Greek, and philosophers. So, you are in advantage because this is what we learn, But how do you use it to your advantage, Or you say, 三人同行，必有我师, 三个臭皮匠胜个诸葛亮. You just say, I'm brainstorming because, Chinese saying that 3-shoe cobbler combined with the brainstorm idea is better than the emperor's strategies, So this is why brainstorming is very effective. I like to listen to everyone's input. So you're encouraging your team to do that, right? So back to that is when I wrote the book, I went to the Amazon and I saw a lot of culture books. There's tons of them, but most books are written by Western people who spent 3 years, 4 years in China, did a joint venture, and all they come back and say, oh, no, this is the culture work. Or is a Chinese scholar that wrote the culture. It was like Yi Jing, So I fell asleep. I still have the Yi Jing. I could never understand, but I only say, it's so deep that Lao Tzu is just too smart for me. So I didn't find anyone that wrote a book that is easy to understand and simple. So this book, as I said in the preface, is that when you're at airport, you pick up this book. I'm flying to Beijing. On the flight, you sleep, you watch movie. You have 2 hours to flip through. If you are Western American, or if you are American-born Chinese, a young generation, like my son and daughter. He's a lawyer. They know these, but they don't know that deep. So you flip through 2 hours of nice reading, cartoons, You landed there, banquet. Why do Chinese banquet, has the whole chicken with head and tail? How does the whole fish has head and tail? The roast pig, with the eyes looking at you. Western people, why do you have, why? I thought you read my book. It's the Chinese, they give the entire, warm reception to your partners. They give you the entire dish that nothing to hide. They wholehearted support, wholehearted partnership. So beginning to end, 从头有头有尾. Chinese saying, when you partner with someone, you don't hide anything. You go from head to toe. So fish will have the tail. Chicken, duck will have the tail. Even a roast pig has head and tail. They may be looking at you, but they are the whole. So it's a wholehearted way of support. So, and then noodles. Longevity. Because it's long. You do that, right? So all these give you subject matter to talk with your Western business friend. And when you host a dinner like that, which they never had, it makes you so much different. They say, wow, And 30 years ago, you say, oh, they were wow a little bit. But today, second largest, world's second largest, you go, wow, this is good. I need to learn these because all the businesses will come from interfacing with China. So, and your children, yes.
Question about the visibility. You mentioned in your case, you were lucky. Mr. Wen remembered you for that Hong Kong visit. Then, if you compare in the U.S. and in China, so how do people get a visibility? They were working there, right? Then in China, everybody's head down, waiting for the manager to recognize. But there's many layers. Yeah. Then in the US, what's the tricks? What's the strategy to be recognized?
That's a very good question. If you are in China, it's so much more difficult, right? Like you're in Japan, that branch manager's in there, you will never. This is why Toyota has a brake pedal problem. People don't dare to go up. I don't know. In China, you still have, open, if you're doing technical side, if you stand out in some ways, and if you're nice to your boss, and you shine with your advantage, and first thing is you build a relationship with your direct boss, okay? And if you build a relationship with your direct boss, and because when you go back there, you have a good college degree, you are, from overseas, you're back there, you already have a status that it's easy to be recognized. Don't be surprised. If you are a true diamond, in the rough, you do your good work, build a relationship with your supervisor, do work with your team, participate in company activities, charity performance, year-end dinner party. You'll have chance to see senior people. And if you spend time understanding each senior people's expertise, someone might click that you know how to support him. And in a dinner banquet, 敬酒, you just go and say, hey, 杨副总, 我看了你那些, 我觉得, oh, okay, 我名片, come up and see me. Yeah. So you can do that. You still will shine, because if you're outstanding, you have more people relationship, respect to people. Your boss have a good favor. Anytime you do anything, you let him know. But if you're going to have a challenge. If he's insecure, right? We all have that. It's your boss. You're smarter than your boss. He's insecure. Don't you talk to my boss without me knowing? When they do that, you right away say, okay, he's insecure. Because 他没有能力来管你，可是他怕你这个 ahead of it. And then you start thinking to say, okay, I'm going to either ask to transfer because nobody wants a boss like that. To me, I have peace. I just always hire people smarter than me. Then I don't have to do a lot of work. Credit always comes to me anyway, right? You say, hey, 你叫什么名字? Michelle. Oh, Michelle did that, She did a good job. But then the boss would say, hey, good, you have a good team there, So I shine too because I do. But the boss has to have the peace of mind. If he doesn't, you say, oh, Michelle, you need to give me that report. Then he changed her name and say, oh, this is what we do. And it happens all the time, right? You just say, okay, that's my work. Don't complain because you're going to upset. Then you start having a 孙子兵法 that comes in, right? 孙子第二的 the 兵法 is not to directly confront, but you find other ways to get around or do a project and transfer or get out or get ahead because don't get into a fight. Yes? Yeah.
Sorry. One question regarding.
How are we doing time? I mean, we're on free time now, right? Anyone can leave. Anyone? I don't think we have. Go ahead. Yeah.
So in terms of speaking up, right?
Right.
You raise up a couple of points there. I mean, Asians have been brought up. We wait until they finish their presentation. We give people a chance to speak before we raise a question, right? If they still don't answer a question,
right.
We also make sure that people have a space to step back for their face, right? That's why we don't confront directly.
Right.
But I think one other point is also we tend not to speak up because unlike the American culture, we don't speak for the sake of speaking. We speak when we have really something that is meaningful, that adds value to the whole conversation.
Yeah.
And when we speak, we think a lot in the little head because we think, oh, will it be stupid? Or,
that
will
be upset someone.
So there's a lot of hurdle for Asian like us to speak up. And by the time we decided, okay, it's time to speak up, people already say it. Or
they already,
or if we say it or
redundant already
or something like that, right? And
are you from Singapore?
Yes. Or when we are soft-spoken, Americans somehow when they speak it, even if it's the same point, people listen to them even though I raise the same point. How do you overcome the mental hurdle? I actually find it a challenge to overcome that mental hurdle because I think so much before I even say anything.
Yeah. Well, it comes in practice. Like you're doing pretty well. I from your accent, I know you're from Singapore. But it's a practice. Like small group, and then always try to voice something. Even if you agree with them, voice or say something of a different. That's a courtesy way to do it. You say, okay, I see your point. I respectfully, understand what you said. But here's another way to look at it. I just thought I'd share with you. It may be wrong. It may not be that. It doesn't mean to offend anything. I just want to bring up a different view of approach of this work. Here's what I think. So you're not upsetting anyone. You preset the stage and say, I respectfully, appreciate what you have done. I think this is a good way. But here's what I thought. I bounce off with you with a different view to achieve. There's several ways to get to the airport. This is just my thinking. So, please give me some feedback. So, when you said that, you're not offending anyone. You may have a better way. Then you make people feel good. You 感受觉得很好，and you show a better way. I'm going to say, I think you have a better way. Let's go with that. You know, so I mean that. So I would think you just practice to, you know, speak up. You know, gradually you'll be tuned into that. You know, people gives, or you write it down. You know, if someone give a presentation, you know, usually question and answer at the end. You know, you write down the thoughts that come in, and just be, you know, just. They said there is no dumb question. You have to believe that. There's no dumb question. You know, nobody's going to say, how stupid can you be asking that question? Nobody would do that, right? The only dumb question is the one that you don't speak up to, right? So they promote. He said, it's just my thought. You know, it's my opinion. I just thought I'd share with you. You say that, then, you know, nobody's going to say, how can you come up with such a dumb idea? You know, no way, people. I think it's a good point to look at it. So practice that, preset the stage, and, you know, you have a good attitude. So, you know, you'll do well. Stand straight and loud and speak up. Yes.
Some people are really dominant people. I mean, dominant means they really want to
Preempt you.
Yeah, they think their way is just a correct way, you know, so
Right.
they try to just, I feel like I'm forced to accept their opinion, their help. So
Yeah, they argue with you till they think that their idea is the best, right?
You said, okay, you're right, you know, you're right.
If he's your boss, then you would take a little softer approach. If he's not your boss, you'll say, that's a good way to look at it. You know, there's many ways to go to the airport, and I appreciate you sharing with that. But here's my like to share with you a different approach. Then you're not offending him. You just said, you know, there's another approach that you should. And I appreciate you being open-minded about it, you know. So when you say that, they can't be say, oh, I'm not open-minded. Oh, yeah, I'm open-minded. I'm going to listen to you, right? So, you know, thank them, preset yourself. So then 你就令到他没办法 you know, 拒绝 you know. 哦，很高兴有这样的机会，能够大家反映不同的角度来看这个，不同的角度就是不同的 idea 嘛。you know, I'm from different angle, you know, so I appreciate you giving this opportunity for people to share different idea from different angle. Even if the boss, you just preempt him. Is he going to say, no, I don't have an open mind. I don't like people to give me different angle. No. So he's going to listen. And he's forced to, in a group, he's going to say, hey, that's a good way to look at it, you know. Yeah.
I have another question. I love the title for the book, and somehow it just aligns with me. So 2 questions.
Yeah.
Came up with that the title. Second, what are the other titles that you guys thought about?
If you look at the book, in that I said, understanding culture, a way to improve your business relationship.
Sorry,
The book.
thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, the title really come from my 2 daughters and my son. You know, the one who worked for HP, one's with Wells Fargo Bank. They are born in Boston, grew up in Hong Kong and all. So this book, because I kind of target that, I said, it's for them. They grew up in the culture, they speak the language, but they really don't know deep enough to say Confucius and Sun Tzu, because they were not educated. They, you know, Agora Hill High School in California, USC, you know, Southern Methodist University, law school, you know. So they don't get those exposure. They get the influence of growing up in the, you know, because in Hong Kong, we were in Hawaii, company moved me around. So they see the client, the customer, but they don't see the depth. So as I do the book, I share with them. They really liked it, they said. So when the book title, you know, comes, they said, you know, you got to be something funny, eye-catching, and yet, you know, attractive. So there's, you know, and when the title, they come up, I say, you know, that is a good title. Then I got my artist. I said, you know, can you come up with this? So, you know, through trying that, I got a very good art. I went to 3 artists, but this one It's very good. And I was happy because the color, I said, you know, you got to be red, you know, because in the book it says 红色, it's good luck, you know. And then he said that Confucius looking at a fortune cookie, you know, a fortune cookie, and it shines. Confucius, 这什么东西来了, you know. So this is this book is for charm, you know. I give to the charm that can circulate, and Kay will have a lot out here. So it's on Amazon, and you know. So I think I'm going to China. I'm an adjunct professor at 中文大学 Chinese Hong Kong University. I'll be seeing Beida, you know, business school. The dean got a book. He said, "Oh, we should get you come and talk because, you know, the thing that is a little bit different is that I lived through this business. I run the business. I was on Wall Street, you know, ringing bells, and I was negotiating joint venture and went back with Dr. Wang and Deng Xiaoping, Jie Jian, all of that. So luckily I'm still young, you know. So it's someone who has done this and sharing the experience. So it makes it much more kind of lively because I lived through these, you know. I mean, I can go stories and stories about, you know, Alan and Carolyn, we worked together for Dr. Wang. It was like, you know, there was a real funny story. So when I was in Hong Kong running the sales for Asia, we got a corporate marketing executive, American from New York. He said, oh, you know, Ed Yang's doing well. We need you to go support him. And so he came out, first time to Hong Kong, you know. Also a presentation, you know. And dinner, nighttime is in Mitsugoshi, you know, the Chaojiangcun, you know, Chaozhou Cai, you know, we have 5 tables with key customers. So he's on the head table with me. And so he walked in, he said, I don't eat Chinese food. This is a banquet, you know, silver plate. I don't eat Chinese food. I said, okay, what would you like to eat? Get me a steak, you know. I said, oh, okay, you know, so head table, 把筷子 everything cleared up, you know, knife and fork. Oh, get me a wine, this and that, you know. So typical, just a typical ugly American, you know. And this is like 25 years. So Asia, we always just, okay, so, you know, we were eating 10-course meal and he's doing his steak. And he went back, we just said, oh, thank you for helping us, and, you know, send him back. And I heard year end, Dr. Wang had taken $2,000 out of his bonus check. He said, this $2,000 is the steak you had in Hong Kong. And a year later, he's gone, you know. But, you know, it is just a culture. And those days, people have never left. I mean, they have to get a passport. It's, oh, you need passport. What is passport? Okay, when you leave a country, you need a passport. And at that time, in the 80s, you know, the Wall Street said 70% of U.S. Fortune 1000 CEOs had never left America. They don't have to, you know. 大强国, you know, 我干嘛要去别的国家, you know. So they don't have that culture sense. This book I wrote, I have not seen anyone that really teach Western people the Asian culture like that. So I felt I'm doing both sides a favor because the more they understand, the more they appreciate, they can do better work, you know. So a lot of that. I mean, I can go on and on with legal side and how to do that, you know. I mean, I also have, you know, been going to China with building schools in Yunnan, Xiwan Gongchen. I had, you know, my family's been building in the 少数民族. Actually, you know, Kate, you should probably start something at Charm to, you know, build a school in. You know, it's minority. I'm not advertising. I'm just sharing. This is a 501c3. You know, we talk about charity. You know, this is my family. We because we run away from 中国到缅甸. So I was from Yunnan, those areas. 少数民族. I'm not 少数民族. I'm Hanzu, but you know, So we go to the mountains, China has 58 tribes of minorities. 80% of them are all in the Yunnan, Xizang 边界, Lijiang, Shangri-La 那边. So my parents have 8 children. So, we joke about my wife's side has 7. I said, too bad when your generation you are only allowed 1 because we took all the quota nowadays. The more the merrier because, my father did well and you want a big family. If you don't do well in a farm, you need a big family to take care of the farm. So my eldest sister teaches in Manitoba University. So when she retired, she went to teach pro bono, 少数民族学院,云南少数民族大学. And she found out they don't send girls to school. She saw little girls playing on the street. She said, hey, 为什么你们不上学? Oh, nobody. So they start saying, go to the parents. The parents said, 为什么不送女孩上学? The girls don't go to school. Why? Spend money on them. Girls married off. Nothing comes back. I feed the pig. Actually, they say, I feed the pig, I can sell it for money. Girls, I don't get. So she got upset and we started going to them and say, you get $5 scholarship per month if you send your girls. So, and then we saw the schools falling apart, in the Shenzhen event. So we finally said to the local village and said, we'll put out 1/3 of the cost. Can you take care of a new school? And they said, no. And 教育部, Ministry of Education said, okay, we'll loan you 1/3. Local put out 1/3. Then we built a school for them. A nice 6 classroom, 200 students. They even lived there. So one school after the other, we start building. You have the naming right. So my partner in EDS, my manager in Wang, Hong Kong team, they donated a school called 港友, 香港港友小学. Taiwan team did a school called 台友小学, Taiwan friends from Taiwan. My wife and I, when we got married, all the proceeds go to a school. My parents, 8 brothers, donated a large regional school for our parents. And then using my father and my mother's name, Peng, 楚鹏小学. Father's name is Chu, mother's name is Peng. And so I took over as the chairman 6 years ago, my sister getting old. And so I make it a 501c3 corporation in the US. So I'm leaving in 2 weeks to Lijiang. We're opening 2 more schools this year. And you got the naming right. Rantong donated 2 schools already out there. So it's all these elementary schools from kindergarten to 5th grade. The teachers lived there. They cooked for the students. And it was out in the mountains, So over 15 years, we built 35 schools, and it's still increasing. And then I have my EDS executive. They donate school. They donate a computer room. They donate a basketball court. Some donate ping pong pads. Any dollar help them. We had a school opening, and then we did the ribbon cutting. As I was leaving, I look at the basketball posts that we built. Then I asked the teacher, I said, do you guys have basketball? He said, no, we don't have basketball. I said, oh, we forgot to. So I put $500 to get some basketball so they can play basketball on the basketball pole, So that's why I admire Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. Build wealth in heaven brings blessings to you and your loved ones. No matter what religion you are, 你积福在天 everything else. 你说现在我们现在还在很辛苦 No, $5 will help, $10 will help. It's just when do you do that? So I think having that, you can pray, you can, whatever religion, there's always a heaven up there. So, having a good heart and it's tax deductible, all that. So we bring friends to go to visit Lijiang, It's a 2 weekend. You fly in Hong Kong 3 days, going to Lijiang for 4 days, you get in the mountain in the bus, 3个钟头 bus 到深山里面. Then you have this beautiful little concrete school. They all dress up in the minority, and then you do ribbon cutting, the local. You sit on a little stool, they cook all these, all the great natural food, veggies and chicken. So, you get to see, you help them with education. They have a future, right? So Confucius said, Confucius.
Just now, Kate mentioned that there is a non-profit organization here locally, the China Tomorrow Education Foundation, and many of the Microsoft employees are volunteers there. Even the president, current
Participate in that?
Yeah, is
that's great.
Employee here.
I think that's
Chinese employees in Microsoft. So I think it's about 200 schools being built in those mountains. And
that's great.
China.
I think those are the, yeah. That's why I have so much respect for the, Bill Gates and all that. I mean, he would devote, the same thing with Carnegie. Carnegie Mellon, Andrew Carnegie is from Scotland. He came to U.S. when he was young, and then he built his wealth. He's a U.S. Steel, his family. So when he was 45, he said, I have built the wealth half my life. The next half, I'm going to be giving it out. So he built Carnegie Hall, Carnegie Mellon University, all these charities and all that. So those are the, it's because of people who help the community that, I went to Taiwan on a scholarship, and if Taiwan didn't have the scholarship, I would not get the education from Burma to Taiwan, then to U.S. Then I would be riding bicycle in Yunnan right now. You would not reckon. So, give it back to society is, it's a great thing. Okay, thank you so much for your time. It's good discussion. I always enjoy. Yeah. It's
Actually, let's take this chance to thank Mr. Yang for bringing us this wonderful speech today.
Thank you for your time. Good question.